Vegas, and welcome to the Conservative American with Chris Garcia. Once again, if you'd like to call in today and join the radio show, 702-983-0711. And I am here Monday through Friday from 1 to 1:30. We have a wonderful show with us today. Is my friend Chris, and he wants to once again tell his story about how the county came onto his property and took some of his classic, beautiful automobiles. And we have a wonderful show, and he's going to explain to the American people out there and the people of Las Vegas exactly what happened to him. And with that, Chris, I'd like you to dive right in and tell the people what happened to your personal property at your home.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, and all the listeners and viewers out there. I really appreciate this opportunity to share this horrific, shocking to the public sense of law and justice atrocity that was perpetrated on me, a senior ADA male, American man. I'm an American state national, not a U.S. citizen. When I was retaliated against, discriminated against, and selectively targeted explicitly to be victimized by having my private property stolen without my consent from my private driveway, not parked on the street, not a commercial vehicle. A commercial vehicle has a specific meaning in law. That means it's used to haul freight or passengers for hire. So, on the 10th of November at about 7:55 in the morning, I was having my breakfast cookies, and I heard the sound of diesel trucks out front of my home, and I thought it was the garbage trucks because it sounded just like them. So I rushed out to see, to get the garbage cans out because they were full and flowing over with clippings from the trees and trash and stuff from 3 or 4 missed pickups. They changed their schedule. So it was important to get them out there so they'd be empty.
Yes.
Well, whenever I heard the diesel trucks, I immediately set my stuff behind, rushed to the front door, and as I cracked the front door, I was absolutely shocked and stunned and terrorized that somebody was stealing my light blue, Robin's Egg blue, 1957 Dodge D500. I'm showing the picture on the wall. I was seeing it dragged down the driveway, and I ran back to my bedroom to get my private home defense tool, figuring that car thieves, grand theft auto of expensive collector cars, would likely be armed and probably try to get away and do whatever it took in order to do so if I was to go out unprepared.
Yes.
And being a former multi-jurisdictional law enforcement professional myself, an actual public servant who protected and served, as opposed to merely serving the corporation, abusing and robbing, raping, pillaging, and seeking out to revenue, that is what they call revenue, to change it from their pocket to our pocket. So anyway, so I had gotten my defensive tool, rushed back as quick as I could, and as I opened the door and made my way out the doorway, I was absolutely stunned and just terrified and shocked at what appeared in front of me. The whole street in front of Glen Lane, just a block from El Dorado High School, was totally filled and encircled, a half circle, with law enforcement type automobiles, mostly SUVs. There were 2 big tow trucks.
Is this a picture of one of the vehicles there, Chris?
This is the picture of the car that they took, the same one on the wall. It's important that the viewers might note, if you look at this picture in particular, you can observe, it's clearly observable that the tires are not off the ground. There's no light coming from beneath the tires, and it is coming from the side to the back, so it would show if there was. And the 2 jacks that I have placed dramatically, specifically underneath the cross member, which is what holds the motor up, a heavy 325 cubic inch hemispherical Mopar performance motor, actual hemispherical pistons and domes into the cylinder heads, which is what gives the incredible horsepower they had back in the day. Well, those 2 jacks were there to alleviate the weight because these expensive wide white wall tires don't hold up well here in the desert sun. As most of us observe, that desert sun is a powerful force, and it will break down those white wall tires and cause them to go flat, and you got to buy more. And I was politically assassinated from the IBW Local 357 back around 2009 or 10. I don't remember the exact date right now. But I assure you, I was unlawfully terminated for calling Harry Reid's office and complaining about the constitutionally invidious aspects of Obama's health care plan.
Yes.
Hillary's health care plan and Romney's health care plan.
It is unconstitutional.
Well, it absolutely is. In fact, if you don't mind me regressing to your previous conversation, it's important that the American people must know that February 1st, 2017 is the drop dead date to repeal the deadly aspects that were incorporated under what's termed the Independent Payment Advisory Board, that we affectionately more commonly refer to as the Death Panel, from Dr. Zeke Emanuel from your town, and Dr. Holdren, aka Dr. Death of the Science Star, who promoted the idea that we all must die at 75. Well, that's a little diabolical, and that goes back to Kevorkian and other so-called eugenicists, which is a nice word for mass murder.
Mass murder, absolutely, Chris.
Well, so I don't need to regress from my story because we want to stay on point, but I thought it was important that people know it has to be repealed by a supermajority of 2/3 in the House and the Senate in order to strike that one back. And it's really critical that February 1st, 2017 date.
Yes.
All right, so as I egress my home with my private home defense implement down to my side, which I never pointed, raised, brandished, or anything threatening to anybody other than merely having it at the ready should I have to defend myself. I made my way out through my locked gate across the driveway. Now this is only about 15 to 20 feet, so 3 or 4 steps I was there. It was merely seconds. And things were happening very fast when I observed that there were 5 Metro public policy enforcement agents, private, foreign, corporate mercenaries across the street. There were 3 to the left of me and 3 to the right of me in the neighboring yards, and they were all yelling for me to put my gun down, they claimed. Well, understand, I am 65 years old, and never in my life I ever committed anything more than a mere traffic offense. I've never had serious allegations alleged against me that were anything of any substance. And so for me, who's been a law enforcement professional and trained in several different police law enforcement academies around the nation, United States Army 546 Military Police Fort Sill, Oklahoma, the Lawton, Oklahoma PD, the Nevada State Gaming Control Board Enforcement Division, and the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
God bless you for your service. Thank you.
Well, I love my country. I grew up watching Lone Ranger and Superman. I think we were supposed to guard, protect, and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and truth, justice, and the American way. I still believe in those high ideals of Americanism. I think they're valuable morals.
They're trying to get rid of them.
Absolutely. Well, they are. There's an assault on our rights, our liberties, our freedoms in this country. And that's exactly what this whole case is about. This case, after I had moved out there, I will tell you honestly that I had some dialogue. I had a little traveling automobile that was parked down by the street that night. In fact, I had a prompting. I'd been up early that morning that I thought I would get up and put my truck and back it up against the car because I just had a feeling that something was coming, but I hadn't done that. I slept in a little longer than I expected to, and I didn't get to affect that. And so when I got out there and they were arguing with me to put my, as they call it, a firearm down, although under the Code of Federal Regulations and the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms definition specifically, the only things that constitute a firearm are a sawed-off rifle, a shotgun, a full automatic rifle, a shotgun, or pistol, are the only things that qualify under the definitions as a firearm. Anything else is a hunting implement, a protective device. You know, although we can use a hammer for a weapon if we have an aggressive nature to ourselves and want to do somebody bodily harm. A pencil, in fact, some suggest if pistols smell words, then it could be a weapon. It's the pencil's fault, right? So we blame the device, not the person who's wielding it, and what their intents are. Intent in Metro's definition is manifested by the circumstances connected to the nature of the offense and the sound mind, or lack thereof, of the person accused. That is pretty much the textbook definition of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police teach and drill into their officers in their training academies. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and graduated post-training academy for police officer standardized testing that they require you to go through to be licensed to carry and to be a law enforcement professional in the state of Nevada. That was way back. The ones following Ralph Lamb, I should be able to tell you his name. I can't remember right now.
That had to be a harrowing experience. I cannot imagine waking up and having all these people on my property and then having all these law enforcement agents around my property. That had to be, wow.
It was shockingly stunning. To walk out there and find your house surrounded as if Osama bin Laden or Tim Osman himself is living at your house, and I'm him. Right. I have discovered subsequent to this that somebody has put in abjectly false information, a term they call gaslighting, where they create the false illusion. It comes from an old movie back in the 40s and 50s. Where a guy was trying to make his wife look insane.
Yes.
Well, this is what they do. They do this with Chris Dorner. They do this with other lovers of America that they deem to be patriots or paid to riot, as the case may be. And so whenever you try to frame the blame on somebody, manufacture a false scenario, a false narrative, as it's called in the legal industry, yes, and you put it into an official record, that is slanderous, it's malicious, it's perjurous, it's dangerous. It rises to the level of yelling fire in a theater or throwing gasoline on fire. Right. It's incendiary. Right. It's inflammatory, and it's meant to exacerbate and raise the level of concern amongst a certain group of society. In this case, they like to think that BLM stands for Blue Lives Matter. Some say Black Lives Matter, but we all know that all lives matter.
Another terrorist organization.
Yeah. This is all the left-wing stuff that they use to divide and conquer us and make us separate.
Absolutely.
You and I are sitting here, we're having a great conversation between ourselves. We're sharing information, knowledge.
Right.
This is what people do on Earth. We're all God's children, red or yellow, black or white, that pushes into the sight. I don't remember them leaving anybody out in that little child school song that we were talking in Sunday school. Well, so I had moved out there into this very volatile situation that I truly felt I was in terroristic threat of losing my life.
Yes.
I was eventually had some dialogue with some of these so-called law enforcement professionals, although I'm not quite sure they understand the concept. Whenever they wanted me to put my home defense implement down, I eventually complied, and I laid it on top of that little car that I was traveling in. It was parked there. Now, this was out near the street, but in my private driveway, which is, my yard is very prominently posted with two sandwich board mounted no trespass, not no trespassing. There's a defined difference between those two crimes. No trespass is a very serious crime as opposed to no trespassing, which is a misdemeanor. So I had put my pistol on top of the automobile, and they wanted me to move away from it. And, that's under the circumstances, that is kind of a reasonable suggestion, but I was under a lot of fear.